Hi, everybody. That was our. Sorry about that. Clearly my first night running tech, but we'll get there. Welcome to our show. Tonight we're going to be talking about raising Disney kids. And I have two wonderful veteran Disney moms on the panel with me tonight to give me all the tips and tricks on how to raise my little girl to be a Disney fan. Because I don't know what I'll do if she doesn't enjoy Disney at least half as much as her mother does. So again, thank you all for joining us tonight. And so I guess I will just jump right in and ask the both of you how. I guess my first question, I was kind of talking to Stephanie a little bit about it right before the show started with the 50th coming up. My husband and I are having a great debate right now about how early is too early to take her to the parks. Because she will be, depending on when she comes, she will be about 4 or 5 weeks old for the 50th anniversary. And I very much would love to maybe not necessarily take her into the parks, but take her to the parks. Take her to Florida and be on property for the 50th. And my husband thinks that I'm actually bat crap insane for wanting to travel with a baby that young, let alone attempt to go anywhere in the Florida heat. So for both of y'all, how young were your kids when you first took them to the parks? Like, how young is too young, do you think?
Marcy, you want to go
I guess
first?
I'll jump in here for a second. So my kids were super young, very, very young. I don't know if they were 4 or 5 weeks, but they were a couple of months old. And honestly, those were some of the best trips because they slept a lot and we could still go on all the rides that we wanted to go on. And of course, we brought like grandma and grandpa so that we could take turns. You know, somebody would stay with the stroller. Strollers are amazing. And so basically they just sleep everywhere and they're free. So I would say, you know, as early as you feel comfortable, you can definitely take her because there are a lot of great things just to see. And you know, kids that young, it doesn't really take much to like spark their interest and get them to smile. So even if it's just seeing Mickey or seeing the fireworks or just, you know, just being around and seeing the music, hearing the music, it's a really good experience. That being said, you know, that was a different time than we're in now. So I know we're still in the middle of a pandemic. So that's another thing you have to kind of consider too.
That's true, yeah.
So I have totally taken them when they were newborns even. When we were, let's see, I was pregnant twice while I was there. So I guess that counts maybe. They were there too, kind of. But when we were celebrating our 10-year anniversary, we went to Disneyland. So I actually flew pretty much across the country. I live in Louisiana. And my youngest was only 1 month old. She turned 2 months old while we were out there. And honestly, she just slept. Like Marcy said, she slept the whole time. And really, when they're that little, it's more for you. You know, like we talked about, you're going to have the pictures. She's going to look at those when she's older and say, I was there, you know, that kind of thing. Ashley, you and I discussed the different kinds of baby wraps. I highly recommend wrapping up your infant because it gives them the warmth and the comfort from you. Of course, it's going to be hot on the 50th. It's still September, October in Florida. So you have to make sure that you cool them down, take them out of the wrap. But when you're walking around the parks, a wrap is a great way to go. A Moby wrap is what I like when they're infants, and as they get older, you mentioned the Ergo Baby. That's another good carrier that you can use. I do not, if if anything, I would say bring your own stroller that can lay flat, because the rentable ones are hard plastic still in most locations, and that's not comfortable for anybody, much less an infant trying to sleep.
Yeah.
So bring a stroller that's not too big, but that is maneuverable and, you know, can lay flat. And then you can always rent one at Disney there, from an outside company, not from Disney themselves. I really wish that Disney would upgrade their strollers. I know they had some beta tested some ones at Animal Kingdom a few months ago, or maybe even a couple of years ago, but I really have not seen that come throughout the property there. So I wish that they would upgrade their strollers to ones that are double strollers that can have, you know, more than one person sitting in them, but also that can lay flat with the back. But I would say, you know, from a medical perspective, is what I do in the real world. And if you're going to breastfeed, which as a physician, I'm a high proponent of that, big proponent of that, you are actually transferring antibodies in the breast milk for the first few months. And of course, the baby still gets some antibodies from the placenta, you know, after they're born as well. They're still circulating in the body. So as far as being in the pandemic, yes, you need to weigh all the costs and the risk and see what you're comfortable doing, obviously, but just know that you are giving your baby the best of the best there, and you're giving them some immunity too.
Yeah, that's a great point,
Gotcha.
Stephanie.
Yeah. Luckily, because we would be driving, we'd be able to bring our own stroller. So luckily, I don't think the stroller would be so much of an issue.
Yeah, that's a great idea if you can do that.
Yeah. So, all right. So that doesn't make me feel quite as guilty or crazy for wanting to bring them so young. So then when, I guess my next question would be to kind of segue into something that would be a little bit more, obviously a little bit more topical, but when do the kids actually start noticing and recognizing that they're going to Disney and enjoying it as their own people? Like, again, the whole taking them as an infant, obviously that's for us. But like, when does it become more, like, when does that shift happen? Because I'm excited for that shift.
Yeah, so I think that the love of Disney, like you're talking about, is hoping that she loves Disney as much as her mom and her dad. First of all, she will, because you're her mom. You know? And so you're going to be introducing these things, these Minnie Mouse plushes behind you there. You're going to be introducing books and movies and different things to her prior to her even going to the park. So the love of Disney starts at home. It doesn't have to be about the movies. It doesn't have to be about the parks, but that's kind of, you know, building to that point. So, you know, I got little golden books, little board books for the babies, and would flip through those and read to those. We would sing all the Disney songs from the Disney movies, even while they were in utero. You know, they can hear you while they're still in the womb. Play the music with the earphones on the belly and stuff. And we would, as they get older, I would just put on like Pandora or Spotify and do like Disney playlist and do like a dance party in the middle of the room. And of course, I bought CDs back in the day. You can stream the music, but I bought those off of Amazon for the music in the parks. And so they get to listen to like the Haunted Mansion soundtrack and the Main Street soundtrack and everything prior to being there. So they are recognizing that. But the answer to your question is, yeah, so they kind of, and of course you can get the seasonal ones too. You can get Boo to You, and they sing that all the time. And then you know, the Christmas, Very Merry Christmas. So you can get all the different seasonal ones too. But the answer to your question, I think, is when they're when they're toddler age. So like between 1, 2, 3, somewhere in there, they recognize and they know who Mickey Mouse is. They know who these characters are because you have been introducing them. Doesn't mean you're just plopping them in front of a television. And so they're excited because you say, oh, well, we're going to go see Cinderella where she lives. And she'll say, yay, you know, she'll know who Cinderella is. And I want to make it sure everybody knows out there that Disney counts your child the age they are at check-in. So what we did, we had twins first, boy and a girl, and their birthday's actually October 31st. fun birthday. So we dress up every year for their birthday,
Nice.
do the birthday party, and then go trick-or-treating, right? So for their very first experience at Disney, we waited till they were turning 3, and we checked in the end of October, and we stayed through their birthday. So even though they turned 3 while they were there, they were still considered 2 during that week that we were there, and you don't pay for them when they're 2. You pay for them when they're 3. So we didn't have to pay for any meals at buffets because they are considered eating off your plate. And of course, we didn't have to buy tickets for them. So that's something huge that parents, I always recommend if they're, big Disney fans and they've been taking their baby the whole time, make sure you take them either for their birthday week or sometime right around their birthday before they turn 3 so that you're not having to pay the extra cost.
That's a good loophole to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would definitely take your daughter as many times as you can before she turns 3. That's what we did because once you start paying for them, it does get pricey. And now my kids are considered Disney adults, which I can argue that all day long. But yeah,
totally.
Yeah. But yeah, Stephanie, I think you hit it right on the nose. I think that once you have your baby, you're going to be really surprised at how early they start to recognize things and to enjoy things, even in their own little way. Just seeing colors, different smells, different music and noises and things like that. They will recognize things at a very early age. I mean, I even remember, but from the time they could like sit up on their own in the high chair, like 6 to 8 months old, and Mickey would like come around and they'd go and reach for his nose and things like that. So they do see things and they do enjoy things in their own way. And I think that kids, they probably don't remember, like once they're older, they may not remember things before they're like 6 or 7. But again, when you take pictures and you go maybe on a regular basis every year, every 2 years, or however often you want to do it, they'll see those and they'll realize that you did take them. And again, you're going to remember it no matter how many times you bring them, no matter what age they are. So it's a great thing to bring them whenever you can.
Marcy, you're absolutely right. I remember bringing my youngest when she was about 7 months old for her official first trip to Disney World. She was the one we took at 2 months old to Disneyland. But we went on Small World, the first thing, and there's so much just sensory overload there. So she was just wide-eyed the whole time, and she would coo. She'd go, ooh, she couldn't even really talk, but she was just amazed by what she was seeing. And so, yeah, you get to experience that. And of course, we have that on video, and we show it to her now, and she just thinks it's hilarious.
Very cool. So then what, I guess, well, actually, let's get into some of the pictures that y'all sent in. Stephanie, we can start with yours.
So I was kind of thinking, yeah, so of course there's Disney, everyday life Disney. And I like to immerse my children into Disney subtly, and I like the hidden Mickeys. And so here, these are my twins, and Jack was wearing kind of an overt Mickey onesie, but Maisie has, I don't know if you can tell, but there's some little hidden minis inside her dress there. But I liked that. I didn't like it it's fun to dress them up in costumey things. And like I said, they're boo babies, so they get to dress up for costumes, their birthday, but just everyday Disney clothing. And then like you showed the picture of the Crocs. And yes, I know we're wearing socks with Crocs, but it was cold. It was December. But anyway, so that was part of their first trip there when they were 2 turning 3. And then the next picture is them on their, again, Halloween. Oh, well, excuse me. That was my middle child, Evie. She, the princess, she's my princess. And then that's her eating her smash cake on her 1-year-old birthday. But these are the twins again. And they're dressed up as Alice. And we always do a family dress up for Halloween, and we were Alice in Wonderland characters there. But again, that's fun to dress up Disney, even in your own home, in your own state, and go trick-or-treating, people recognize you, especially if you have a big group. I think the next picture, if I'm, yeah, so that was their birthday at Disney World. And this is actually my sister-in-law. And we were the cast of Peter Pan. And when I say the cast, I mean, we had like 12 to 14 people, and we were everyone. We even had Nana.
Oh, wow.
And that's the next picture is Captain Hook. My husband dressed up as Captain Hook. That was hilarious. They had so much fun. Pre-COVID, obviously, but my mother-in-law is me. And then here we are at the, this is the Pirate League. And Marcy made a good point. Bring grandmas, bring friends. This is our friend Melinda, and she was invaluable. I was actually pregnant with our 4th child in this photo here. And, you know, I had a almost 2-year-old, and then I was pregnant with the other kids too. And so, you know, she really helped. It doesn't hurt to have somebody come along. Sometimes people think, oh my goodness, you know, I'm not going to get a full experience with my kids, but it actually adds to it to have somebody there. This is, this is something I love to do when we go, and it's kind of, you can use them for whatever purpose, you know, put them on your wall, do a Christmas card with them, but I like to go with Disney's fine art photography. Disney's Photo Pass service is great, and of course they get good shots, and they have the little Photo Pass mini session, if you will, inside the Magic Kingdom, which we did this last trip, and it was really great. We had a great photographer. But when you go with the fine art photography, Disney's fine art photography, they do more 30-minute to an hour sessions at different resorts or inside the parks, and it's higher quality. They do, you know, touch-ups and everything, but this was at the Grand Floridian, one of our favorite pictures there, and it just chronicles your not only your trip but your family at the moment, and it's something that's special to do whenever you go, especially if you don't go to Disney as often.
Yeah.
Oh, this is funny. So going with our clothing theme, I love to have Disney t-shirts and just wear them in everyday life, but Evie is hilarious there. Born Disney, raised Disney. So true. This was, again, the twins' first trip. They're holding a big wooden Mickey #3. And yes, I did bring that around to every single park and have all the characters sign it. So we still got it. But this is our first attempt at Disney bounding. Can you guys guess who our characters are?
Yeah, of course. You did awesome. You got, if I'm correct, Donald and Daisy and Mickey and Minnie. Is that right?
You are so right. Good job, Marcy.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is I had to do it because my husband already had the yellow Converse sneakers. Why he had the yellow ones, I don't know.
Well, what else would
Hey,
you
it
have
worked
yellow
out
Converse?
perfect.
Exactly. Oh, so this is something else that kind of segueing into Disney at home. Like I say, it kind of starts, the love of Disney starts at home. And this is Evie eating her first Mickey Premium ice cream bar at the park. However, you can buy them at your local grocery store. And I still think they taste better when you're at the park. But it's a great, during the pandemic, it was a great little Disney hit of Disney at home. And so you can get the ice cream sandwiches, you can get the ice cream bars at your local grocery store. Another thing you can do is arts and crafts. And there's all kinds of coloring books and things that you can buy for your kids that are Disney themed or Disney characters. This was actually painting with a twist, and they will do it with their children. And so Maisie and I went and did that. That was pretty neat. I'm a terrible artist, but that's okay.
No, it turned out good.
Oh my goodness. So one of our favorite things to do at Disney is to find hidden Mickeys. Like I said, I like, you know, the hidden Mickey, not the overt Mickey necessarily. This is pretty overt though. This is huge. They have Mickeys at the different ballparks Disney donated, and this was us in Boston, and it's fun to find. Of course, the kids were gravitate towards him. Oh my gosh, there's Mickey, you know, and so we had to take a picture with him. And since then, we've been to a couple other ballparks, namely Colorado, a few weeks ago, and got to see another Mickey there. So, but they find hidden Mickeys after our first trip. trip, oh my goodness, they were finding anything with 3 circles they would call a hidden Mickey. And they would, look in the clouds and look in our, arrangement of our books on our bookshelf. And they would just make anything up, hidden Mickey, but they loved it. So this kind of goes into another thing you can do at home, although this was actually at the parks, birthday parties. Of course, you think about, Halloween dress up Disney, playtime dress up Disney, and then birthday parties. Most people do at least 1, 2, 3 birthday parties for their kids. This was something that was special. Again, like I said, brought the kids when they were 2, turning 3, and we had a birthday party at the old prop shop, which is no longer there. It is a travesty because they demolished it for Toy Story Land. But anyway, so that was the old prop shop inside of Hollywood Studios, and we had the Big Cheese himself made an appearance, and that was something to remember. Like you said, Marcy, I don't know that they honestly remember that because they were so young. They say they do, but I'm kind of leery of that. I think maybe they, look at pictures and remember that, but I remember it. So it's really, I guess, more for me, but
yeah.
This is a at-home birthday party. We had, yes, Evie, again, my princess.
I love that
She's
cake.
my princess
Oh my
who likes to play in the dirt. Oh my gosh. This lady, I tell you what, she is now in San Antonio, Celebrate Life Cakes. If anybody lives in San Antonio or nearby, she's fantastic. And she did, this was a princess theme. It was all different princesses, but I had to do Sleeping Beauty cake, and she did a great job. Okay, so I'm over the top, obviously, and with Disney and my children. And for the twins' 6th birthday, we did a pirate and princess theme. And yes, we had Anna and Elsa make an appearance, and we also had Captain Jack Sparrow and accent and all. And so I actually don't know. I know, right? I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble saying this, but I took some liberties and wrote a script for these actors, and they did a skit based off of the Frozen live there at Hollywood Studios, and then also the Captain Jack. We used to have the pirate meet and greet in Magic Kingdom, and I watched some YouTube and took some dialogue from that. It was a lot of fun. This is our backyard, though. Oh yeah!
Oh my gosh!
Replete with
taking
pirate
all the
ship.
notes.
That pirate ship, man, it took a while to put together. And then, of course, we had Ariel, who is Evie's all-time favorite princess. And at her 4-year-old swim birthday, Ariel made an appearance all the way from Florida. She came to Louisiana. So, wow, she swam a long way. I'm just kidding. Oh gosh, yes, the more birthday cakes. This is again pirate. This is my Boo Babies, and this was their 8th birthday. We had to do some pumpkin, Mickey pumpkins. I like the sculptural cakes, as you can tell.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's Ainsley turning 4, and her birthday's in May. In Louisiana, it's super hot, so we actually had a swim birthday. She was wearing her Moana swimsuit that she loves, but it was an Elsa themed party, so go figure. We had our fake snow in the back. Oh, like I said, it starts at home. You introduce all these characters, and I tell you what, as the kids grew up a little bit older, they started watching Marvel cartoons actually first, and then as they got older, they could start watching the Marvel movies. And of course, we have books, and they love Marvel, especially the twins. And this was Disneyland. She got to meet Captain America was her favorite, and Spider-Man was Jack's favorite, all-time favorite. He, in fact, has a Marvel-themed room, and Spider-Man is was his number 1. I think he actually likes Iron Man a little bit better now. Oh my gosh. So another thing, it's, not just the Fab Five characters, not just the princesses, but introducing your kids to Star Wars. I highly recommend the Star Wars Droid Tales, and it's the Lego version of Star Wars. And this is because it takes you through the original trilogy, the whole story. It's with the little Lego characters. There's something for everybody. There's a lot of jokes that only adults will get, but it's safe enough for the kids to watch. There's not any gore, there's not any scary stuff, and it really introduces the character. So when we went to Disneyland, that was the first time that he got to do Jedi Training Academy, which I so hope comes back. Oh my gosh, it's amazing, and they can social distance that, so there's no reason to not do it, Disney. Anyway, so at Disneyland, it's true, the Jedi Temple comes up from the ground, and I tell you, I cried. I did. I shed a tear, because you have the music, and out comes Darth Vader, and my little 4-year-old, 5-year-old boy, and he was not scared at all. He did not, cower in fear or anything. He was smiling, and in fact, the Jedi there, who was his trainer, Darth Vader said to him, the Force is strong with this one. And the Jedi trainer says, "That's right, kill him with a smile," like that. And everybody laughed, but he did great. I was so proud of him. Okay, so not everything is perfect for Instagram, right? Disney with kids. And
That's super cute.
you try to get the
I was
perfect
gonna
picture.
say, I love
It
this
doesn't
picture.
happen.
I love it.
That's more our life. And I mean, dude, we take like 45 pictures in that one thing to get one picture that works out, where everybody's looking and everyone's smiling, but whatever, it's life.
Right. Is that a Playpen and Frontierland?
Yes. So this is another great idea that I had. I've never seen anybody do this. And since then, well, I've seen maybe 1 or 2 people since this. So what I did was, like I said, my daughter was about 7 months old. She was definitely crawling, starting to move around a little bit, but not really pulling up so much yet. Definitely not walking. And I needed her to be able to get out of that ergo baby and move around. She would sit in the stroller, or she'd sit in her carrier on me, and it would get hot and she would get fussy. And so she just needed a break. So this is actually on Tom Sawyer Island. And what I did was I went onto Amazon and got an $8 pop-up playpen that you put plastic balls in. And I just didn't buy the balls, obviously. And so there's not really any kind of cushion, but it is shielding her from the ground so she can move around. And obviously we have some toys in there for her, and she just loved that. And you could put it anywhere, like just anywhere that's a quiet spot, not in the middle of a walkway, obviously, thoroughfare. That would be terrible. But I would always have people come over, "That's a great idea." And then we'd blow bubbles, and she would get a nice reprieve, especially when the older kids are riding a ride that she can't ride and I have to stay with her. Rider swap is a great idea too.
No, that is a good idea. I haven't seen that before, but in hindsight, yeah, having somewhere like that is a really great idea, actually.
And it totally folds up and sticks inside whatever backpack or diaper bag you have. This is still with the parks. It's characters. So of course, right now during the pandemic, it's a little different situation. They're socially distanced. But when that comes back, you just have to know your kid. And sometimes you don't know what their reaction is going to be, especially to like the face characters. Some kids do better with the fur characters, the ones with the heads and everything, and some do better with the face characters. You just don't know until you try. But I love this picture of Evie, her first visit. She was not yet 2, like I said, and she just loves, even from then, she loved Ariel. And Ariel, I tell you what, this Ariel is fantastic. She was the best. Something else in the parks to do with your with your family that is not just straight going to the parks, riding the ride, seeing the characters. They have a lot of other experiences, obviously, that are modified still due to COVID. But when this comes back, this was the Perfectly Princess Tea, and it was phenomenal. This character here, Rose Petal, she started, this is the original Rose Petal, and she's been doing this for, 10, 15 years, however long it's been going on. And she sings all the songs. She was just absolutely great. And of course, the girls get apple juice and little bite-sized sandwiches and finger sandwiches and things. And then they also get a doll that is Sleeping Beauty. And then, of course, you have your surprise at the end. Your Princess Aurora comes and does a little thing with the princesses there too. So it was just, it obviously is an add-on. It's an extra expense, but I think it was worth it. And they still remember it too. And then another thing you can do, obviously, with your kids, other experiences at the parks, is Run Disney. And the only thing that's a drawback to that, I wish they would change it, is that they do it at the Wide World of Sports. And I understand logistically, it's just better to have people go there. Of course, you have the diaper derby and diaper dash. And so you have the little ones go first, and then they do it by age after that. But yeah, it's fun. They get the medals. They always get a t-shirt with it. And it's just an experience that you can, say, hey, I did that. Wish they would do it in the parks like they do the regular marathons, but I understand why they don't. Other things you can do. My husband loves to fish, and he takes them fishing. You can fish in Bay Lake behind the Contemporary. You can fish in the Seven Seas Lagoon. But one of the places you can fish is actually inside of World Showcase. And my husband loves to do that. It's bass fishing. And he'll take the kids and go do that.
Oh, cool.
So there are other things to do. Yeah, there's other things to do just besides the parks. And the kids enjoy it.
So, and this is a completely random question. But Marcy, before we hop into your pictures, I had the thought, and so I just wanted to ask y'all, we were talking about strollers earlier, and the ball pit kind of reminded me, what are y'all's opinions on those wagon strollers? Do you know which ones I'm talking about? The ones that kind of, they push or pull, but they're almost like a wagon, but they're a stroller.
I prefer ones that are more maneuverable.
A box.
It's not, yes. So you're not really maneuvering it very well, I don't think. I like the ones that are the City Mini. That's my preferred go-to one for the parks. So I see some people with the Bob strollers there. They're kind of big. They're big and heavy. And when you by Florida law, you have to fold them in order to get onto the buses. So you got to kind of keep that in the front of your mind too. It's really annoying to have to do that, but you do.
Yeah, we actually also did the City Mini because when I had one, which was several years ago, you pull up on this one thing and then it all folds completely flat, which is incredible, especially if you stay until, closing, or even, past 7 o'clock when they fall asleep. And then you have we had 2 sleeping kids. So I had one, he had the stroller, I had the bag. So it's like, you have to be able to do things with one hand. So I would practice, I would get one and practice. Even actually what we did was we went to, I think it was Bye Bye Baby at the time. I don't know if they still have those even, but so they had all these different strollers.
Yes.
And we would practice closing and opening, and see which one was the lightest and the easiest, and still it's definitely something to try out beforehand, because at the beginning you want to get the cool stroller, but sometimes they're not the best when it comes to folding and unfolding and how heavy they are. So
that's why I was kind of asking about the wagon strollers, because on the face of it, they do kind of seem if your kids are slightly older, let's say 3 to 5, they do kind of seem like a good idea because it's slightly bigger, but it's more comfortable than the Disney rental strollers. And they may not necessarily need to be in the stroller all the time, but it still gives them room as a bigger kid to be able to stretch out a little bit. But I haven't met anybody who's actually used one for a child. Like, I've seen plenty of resellers using them to pile crap in, but I've never seen somebody that actually has used it for its intended purposes, we'll put it that way, as a kid. So
Yeah,
I was just
kids
Prior to
are
COVID, though,
much different than merchandise.
yeah,
it's true. Prior to COVID,
I
though,
would hope
Ashley, I
so.
think that they actually banned them. I think that they
Oh, did
put
they really?
restrictions on those.
Well, I know
Yeah,
they
within
put
the
a
park. I
restriction
have
on some of
seen.
them, but I've seen the wagon people have redesigned them too. So now you can get one that actually I
Oh,
think it's a
okay.
Jeep Grand stroller that actually pushes from behind and is slightly smaller so that it fits within that regulation. It doesn't have just the two like push pull bars at the front and the back. They've gone back and reconfigured it to be more of a stroller.
Okay.
So I'm curious, but I guess I'll have to wait a few years and perform an experiment and let y'all know how it works.
Yeah, I don't know. That was
Yes.
after my time. My kids are older now.
So Marcy,
I still get the
speaking
city
of
minis.
Yeah. Speaking
Yeah,
of
baby.
your kids,
I say baby jogger is the way to go.
noted. Oh, look at
So-
all those
so my
meet
daughter-
and greets.
Yeah, my daughter has always been a huge princess fan. And, like Stephanie said, that started, at home way before we even took her to the park. She actually had a princess themed bedroom as soon as she was able to have like a little toddler bed. So she had like one of those little coat hanger things, and she had all of her little princess dresses hanging up, and she had a full length mirror and a little toy box with all her princesses on it. And so she always loved dressing up. So she tried to dress up as each princess that we would meet. And she still loves
That is-
costumes. And she's almost 15. So
I'm still
That's
a little
awesome.
jealous
Yeah.
that
Love
they don't do
Meredith.
adult costumes. But
oh my goodness, I know. Yeah. So we would always take trips. I think the first one she went to, she was only a couple months old, and then I went when I was pregnant with my son. So they've always been going to Disney since they were really little, and we've done Walt Disney World, we've done Disneyland, we've done a cruise line. So they've had like several different types of experiences, and they love all of them. And this was on Disney Cruise Line. My son actually did the Pirates League, because they have the Pirates League and the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique on the ships. So of course we took advantage of that, and he dressed up like Jack Sparrow, which he loved. But that's the only time I could get him to dress up. He's not like into it anymore. But we always love taking pictures. We always love to have breakfast with Mickey.
Aw.
And that's kind of it's nice to have traditions as a family. So we would always like go to the Magic Kingdom the first day and the last day. So, and then the last day we would also start with a character breakfast, so that on our way out, no matter what time of day our flight was, or if we were driving, we would always be able to say goodbye to Mickey on the way out. So that's something that we've continued to do, and it's a great.
Oh,
tradition.
that's great.
That is a great tradition to have. Very cute.
It's nice to come up with your own Disney traditions. So this one was at Disneyland, Cars Land. They loved seeing all the different Disney parks, and now they really want to go to Tokyo. So whenever we can get out of the country, I think that'll be our next adventure, our next Disney adventure that we haven't done yet.
That will be awesome.
Again, Chef Mickey's. So you'll see like different ages and stuff when they're and this one was pretty recent. So we had to cancel our trip last year because of COVID. So we ended up going in February, and then we came back again in May, and it really wasn't too bad because the crowds were still kind of light, and they were taking a lot of precautions. So, and I just couldn't stay away. I mean, it was really tough not being able to go. We'd been going a couple times a year every year since they were really little. So we really missed it when we weren't able to go. So we're happy that we were able to get a couple trips in. And so this one was this past May with my parents. So the grandparents are still coming. So we did like family
Nice.
trips with extended family, or just the four of us. But it's always really nice to have to make those memories with extended family as well.
Oh,
Look
Yeah, so
it.
this is the picture that I was thinking of when I was talking about how, no matter how little they are, they recognize and have fun. Look at her little face. Like, she loved Mickey, and she doesn't remember that, but I have this picture, and she had her little cupcake, and she loved when she was, when the characters would come by, and she loved Mickey, and it was just a really, really awesome day. And that was at shoot, where was that? It
Garden
was in the
Grill.
land. Yeah, Garden Grill. That's right. We haven't been there in forever, so I blanked. But yeah, that was Garden Grill with Mickey in his little overalls. So it's really cool to be able to have pictures throughout the years with characters in their different costumes and different locations. Some are really rare, so it's really nice memories to have. Oh, and you see that little placemat? You need to get those, Ashley.
What I was going to say, what is that?
Yeah, so on the back, they have a little sticker that you can peel off, and you put it down on the table, and they stick right there. So then you could put food or Cheerios or whatever little pieces of fruit or whatever you want your child to have, and you can even fold it over the side, so when they inevitably bite on the table, which they will, they're not biting on the actual table. You have a barrier. Because they put everything in their mouth, so
good point.
True.
Yeah, so it's germs. So this was my son when he was little, and one of the reasons that I love Disney so much is that no matter how small they are, we can take them on certain rides. He was really little at this point. He wasn't even a year old, and I could still take him on different things. So it's so nice to be able to spend time as a family and enjoy things together without having to worry about they're too small for this or too short for that. You can do so many things together. Yeah, another
husband's gonna be at the park a lot more.
Yeah, another princess picture. She loved her princesses. Would always go to the park in a dress. But of course, another thing that I can say is you got to have sneakers and you got to have an outfit underneath, because they're going to complain about it at some point. So you can rip it off at any time and stuff it under the stroller.
So true.
Yeah, they'll be 1,000% done with it at some point.
Exactly. So again, just we love the characters. It's just really nice to have these memories. So get as many pictures as you can. And that was when
Definitely
Jackson was
noted.
the beast. It's really fun. One thing I do have to recommend is that when they're small, especially if they want to do something, try to do it with them, because there's going to be a time when they don't want to do it anymore. Whether it's wear costumes or see the characters, they're going to hit the years where they're too cool. They're too cool to do that kind of stuff anymore. So, if you can, do that as much as possible, because you won't always have the opportunity.
That is a great point.
He would be caught dead doing that right now.
Can I ask real quick, because you have your kids are a little bit older, do they get tired of going twice a year? Because my husband swears, he's like, they're going to get so sick of Disney because we're going so often. So do they are your kids sick of Disney? Or are they still wanting to go and asking to go?
So my kids now, my daughter's going to be 15 in a couple months, and my son is 12. And they are not sick of it yet, because, going from the time when they're little, you can do Disney in stages. When they're young, you have to take them on the family-friendly things. And then when they're old enough, they can do their first roller coaster, whether that be Space Mountain or Big Thunder or whatever you want to do. But, for the longest time, my kids were really afraid to go on a lot of different rides. And it's only been very recently that they have, gotten a little bit braver and have done Rock and Roller Coaster, have done, these other attractions that they, didn't want to before. So they're actually looking forward to going again, because they're like, we're going to do Everest this time. We're going to do Everest this time. So their interests do change. But Disney has such a wide appeal for all different age ranges, and it's a multi-generational product, which is kind of what brings us back and has us be able to go with the entire family year after year. So they still really love it. They may love it in a different way, but they still love it.
I think that's a great point, because we went to Universal with the kids and they were little, and there's really not a lot that they can ride there. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's more roller coasters at Universal anyway. So I think that's more of like maybe your kids' age right now and then up to take them to Universal. But even the ET ride, they wouldn't let me take the baby on the ET ride. I was shocked. But going back to your point about the rides, Marcy, I think that's a great point. You can take any baby on any ride that doesn't have a height restriction. At Disneyland, we found that they were a little bit more, they were keeping to the rules more, so to speak, because my 2-month-old would sleep a lot, like you mentioned, and they made me turn her around and face forward, and so the bar could come over, like on Snow White's Scary Adventure and Pinocchio, which I thought was ridiculous because she's a sleeping infant, but whatever. So at Disney World, they didn't really make me do that so much, turn her around, but they will. I mean, if they tell you to do that, then you have to do it, but that's the safety issue of that. But you can go on any ride with the baby that doesn't have a height restriction. So I think that's a great point.
Yeah, and once you get to be, a little bit older, I mean, I'm not old, but like my age where I'm kind of done with, the roller coasters. I'm like, you know what? I'll watch the baby. I'll go on TTA. I'll just keep riding.
Yes, exactly.
I'll just go around and around, and I'm totally fine.
around.
Grab some popcorn. Yeah, I'm good.
Spaceship Earth all the way.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's definitely something for everybody. But yeah, we just recently started going to Universal with my kids, and they are tall enough to go on most things. So at this point, they do enjoy that. But it's 2 to 3 days at the most probably, and that's taking it slow. So it's still not the same as a Disney vacation. I mean, we love staying on property. We love staying there for between 7 and 12 days each time we come. So there's still plenty to do. It's a huge resort, and we love a lot of different things about it.
Well, that does make me feel better, because that is always one question that I've had. And my family, we only went the one time, and I was the only teenager in the group, and so of course I was enamored with it. Everyone else was still little enough to enjoy it. So I've always kind of wondered that, because that's kind of the thing you hear, is that kids kind of hit like a Disney burnout when they hit like their teenage years. But it's good to know that it doesn't have to be that way. But
yes,
but
and I think that there's extra stuff too. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say things that they can get into. And now, of course, they took out the Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, but my kids were really into that and the cards and doing the games when we were there. But they have started getting into pen trading. Tom Corliss would be, happy about that. So carry on the tradition of the pen trading. But I mean, they will go up to total strangers that have just the bags and say, "Oh, can I look at?" Clearly, they're not ready to trade those pens, but they will ask, just in case. My son is into Oswald. He wants to collect every single Oswald pen that he can find. So that's something, as they get a little bit older, there's extra things to do within the parks that aren't just the rides.
Yeah, and also, raising your kids Disney doesn't always have to mean bringing them to the parks. It's such a huge, diverse company and so many options. I mean, you've got Adventures by Disney, you have the cruise line, you've got Alani. There's so many parks around the world. It really can encompass anything you want to make it. And I think that there's just a really wide appeal for all different ages.
Very cool. Well, real quick, as we kind of head into the second half of the show, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And then I think when we come back, the two things that I definitely want to ask you all is, one, favorite memories as Disney parents. Both, and I would argue, and I'm curious to know, both in the park and outside of the park. And then also just your best Disney tips and tricks when we come back.
a new home for creative, innovative, and outlandish programming made for Disney fans, including Cosmic Read Live, discussions and Imagineering attractions, Deep in the Plus, reviewing the catalog on Disney Plus, Ink and Paint, celebrating female voices in the Disney fandom, WDW News Tonight, a late-night comedy show with sketches and characters, Boxed In, opening mystery packages and viewer mail, Picky Eaters, trying to eat our way across Disney restaurants, WDWNT the RPG, a tabletop adventure set in Tokyo Disney Sea, and more of your favorites. Subscribe now at unplannedDowntime.com. Remember, it's not an accident, it's unplanned downtime. This program and many more are brought to you by WIGS, the WDWNT Interglobe Society. Support WDWNT to get early and exclusive access to content you can't find anywhere else, including exclusive post shows for WDW News Tonight, Park Center, and Cosmic Read Live each week, exclusive programs Detailed, and our comedy riffing show Ride Rehab Watches, access to our Discord community, and much more, with tiers starting at $2 a month. For more information, visit patreon.com/WDWNT or visit WDWNT.com and click the Patreon link. Join WIGS and unlock even more WDWNT.
Chomp at your neighbors.
Hold for Mr. Corliss. Hey, Tom.
Killed Nick Wilde and I'm wearing him on my head for warmth.
Oh! Oh, no!
Mickey is giant. Oh, it's time for your favorite. Cups.
WDWNT presents Timekeeping, a year-by-year journey through the history of the vacation kingdom of the world. Join us for the premiere Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern or watch on demand anytime on the WDW News Today YouTube channel.
Whoop. Hey, that worked. I did it. And I didn't actually accidentally mute anything. Yay! I'm getting the hang of this. So welcome back, everybody. Like I said, I guess for kind of a feel-good moment, you all shared some really great pictures. That now I'm even again looking more forward to taking my little girl as soon as she's here. Logic be screwed. We're probably going to wind up going down there at 3 weeks old. It's fine. For the 50th. I think that kind of sold it for me. But what, if you had to pick one or maybe even just two things, two really great family memories, what would they be?
Go ahead,
I think
Marcy.
for me, one of them would definitely have to be if you have more than one child at any point, try to do something special with each of them individually. I remember there was one time where we really wanted to watch Happily Ever After, the fireworks, but we had gotten off of an attraction late, and we would have been in the Sea of Humanity, which is not my thing. So my daughter really wanted to go and ride Mine Train again. So instead of trying to rush back to the hub and go through all the crowds and try to figure out a spot, we just went on Mine Train, and we got back in line. And by the time that we were on Mine Train and got to the top of the hill, we could see the fireworks perfectly. And that was an amazing experience, because seeing the fireworks from the back of the castle and then while you're riding Mine Train was absolutely incredible. I mean, it
That does
literally
sound cool.
they're above you, like right above you. So it feels like they're taking up the entire sky. So when you're up on the top of the hill and you look up and there's this huge boom and the colors and the lights, it was just an extremely cool, memorable moment. And so I would recommend doing that to anybody. And one of the memories that my daughter really remembers too is that my husband, when my son was little and he was too tired to do anything, because once 7 o'clock hit, he was like a rock. No matter where we were, he was asleep. So my husband brought my daughter back to the Magic Kingdom for extra magic hours, and she still talks about that to this day. And she was really young when he did that. So things that you can do to with one child or with two, just a special thing that you may not even think is a big deal can be something that they remember forever.
That's so cute.
I agree. I think that the extra little touches, the Disney magic that comes along with sometimes the character interactions or just special things around the park, I keep as my favorite memories. Similarly, we were able to sit down in front of the castle. For some reason, they didn't have everybody stand up. I remember there being it was in February, and I remember there being a cheer competition, and the majority of people in front of us were the cheerleader groups, and they were all sitting. And so I guess cast members or whoever just never came over and said, everyone stand up to watch fireworks. So we got to watch the whole thing sitting down, which is so nice. There weren't kids on people's shoulders in front of you, or, phones and iPads taking up room. And it was, like you said, kind of just all around you. It was really neat. The after hours events, we always love to do the after hours, because our family, you kind of have to know how your kids will do at night versus during the day. Are they early risers or late? Stay up late, and my kids stay up late. And so we would do the after hours events like in February, January, and there sometimes would be nobody in line. And one time I remember getting off of Splash Mountain and just getting right back on like 5 times in a row, because there's literally nobody. And we're the only people in the log, and it was just awesome having that all to ourselves. Another time that was really cool as when you're not, of course, this is back with fast passes. So a lot of times you were rushing to get to your next fast pass. And when you can just relax and just enjoy the atmosphere and enjoy your kids, enjoy your time in the parks, I think that makes for the happiest memories for me. Waiting for the 3 o'clock parade, we would go and we would sit in front of the train station right on the street there, because it's shadowed. So it was in the shade, not too hot. You still get the view down Main Street with the castle, and the parade ends, as it comes around. And just being able to sit there and watch, the people walk by, and the cast members would come up and talk to us, and just enjoy. They have the little kids play, before the parade starts. It was just a lot of fun. Just those kinds of memories with the family where you're not super rushed all the time. It's a good memory, yeah.
That's awesome. So, and I want to close out with this. Of all the things that you have learned being Disney parents, what are your best tips and tricks? And I mean, y'all have kind of mentioned it throughout, but also your best Disney parent advice for me, selfishly.
That's a loaded question. I have to think about that for a second. There's a lot of good
There's
advice.
a lot. I think, Casey, you mentioned it in your pictures, the character meals. I think right now with the social distancing of the characters in the parks, you're not getting a full experience going up and getting autographs. But when that does come back, we always would schedule a character meal because you're not having to stand in line in the heat around other people. They to your table. You get to interact with them one-on-one. I think Garden Grill is one of my all-time faves. I wish they would bring back breakfast because they have the absolute best cinnamon rolls, even better than Gaston's. I will that. But the characters come to the edge there. So where you're sitting is in the booth. They don't let people now sit in where the tables are on the higher level. So that's where the characters come, and they're a little bit closer than, say, at Topolino's or at Chef Mickey's, where they stay in the middle of the room. Another good one is Minnie's Hollywood and Vine seasonal dine. They come in the middle of the room there as well. But I think that that's always better for kids because mama needs a break. You know, you got to sit down, you got to eat, recharge, rest your feet, and the kids get to interact and have fun while you're eating a meal. So I definitely recommend character meals, at least one, hopefully more than one if you want to see different characters. Naps, people debate about that, and again, you kind of just have to know your kid. Some kids can sleep through anything, and it's not a big deal to just let them sleep in the stroller. But I will tell you, they will make you take out a sleeping baby out of the stroller in order to go into a show, even like Hall of Presidents. They don't let you push the stroller in, even if the baby's sleeping, which I think is terrible.
Good to know. Very
I'm
good
really
to know.
sorry.
No, you're good.
Breaking news thing, so I have to take a
Uh-oh.
second. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're
Masks
good.
are once again required indoors at Walt Disney World and Disneyland, starting on
see,
July 30th. So I just have to post that really fast. Sorry, everyone.
You heard it here first, friends. No, that's all right. Our people got the news first, even before it got published. That's awesome.
Exactly. I know you're all ahead of the game.
So while Marcy handles that, I do have one question.
So talking about naps, Ashley. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Well,
I was just going to say that.
Sorry, you go ahead.
There are some people that will say you need to stay on a Disney property so that you can get back to the hotel and take a nap of the day, right? So if your kid naps at 3 o'clock, you need to be able to go back to the room. You don't have to do that. You can find, the baby care center, which has rocking chairs and a quiet space that you can put your baby down for a nap. Or like I said, a lot of kids will just sleep through anything, and you can just keep them in the stroller in a quiet place inside of, I don't know, Pecos Bill or something like that while everybody else rides. Rider switch, another big thing. Rider switch, you need to ride that has a height restriction has a rider switch option. And so you just have to present the baby. You have to just point them out to the cast member and say, here's my baby, or your child that it's too, afraid to ride the ride or isn't tall enough to ride the ride. And then the rider switch, the person that comes back, now they just scan your magic bands. It used to be a piece of paper that they would give out, obviously, but you can bring 3 people back. So my older kids actually get to ride it again, like Rise of the Resistance. They'll do a rider switch on that too.
Oh, that's cool. Really good to know. And this is slightly off of our original topic here for a second. But are there any, how do I word this? Are there any negatives to taking your kids to Disney? Or do you ever go by yourselves and feel any Disney mom guilt with leaving them behind?
More expensive. That's the only negative.
Really?
Yes, it's much more expensive to go with, especially, my 2 are, considered adults now. So It's ridiculous. Like it's
I see
gotten
what you're saying. Okay.
much more. Yeah, so it's much more expensive to go with children. That's the only
Got
my
it.
only thing.
I thought you were saying the other way around. I was like, how much
No.
does David
Oh,
spend when
no.
you go by yourselves?
No, yeah, especially with my daughter who loves shopping, so she cannot pass a shop without going in it. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Stephanie, did we lose Stephanie? Oh, no, you're there.
Oh, we've definitely gone. I'm there. You see me?
Yeah.
We've definitely gone by ourselves. It's a different trip when you go just you and your husband. People say when you take a kid on a vacation, it's not so much a vacation, but more of a trip. And that's pretty much true because, you have to plan for, like Marcy said, when they take the dress off, there's got to be something underneath that they can put on. Or if they drip chocolate all the way down their shirt, you got to have a, replacement. Or they run through Casey's, soak and they get their shoes wet and they cry because their shoes are wet. So you have to have these kind of contingency plans when you travel with kids. But it's really fun to take them because you see it through their eyes, and that's the biggest thing. Sometimes we can get jaded about Disney and the cost and the crowds and everything, but when you go with your kid, you get to see what they're experiencing. And just, you asked about proudest Disney moment. I just want to throw this in real quick. One of my proudest Disney moments was actually not at Disney. My son was studying Michelangelo at school in his art class, and he came home and I said, "What did you do today?" He said, "Oh, Mom, do you know the guy that's on his back in that big the golf ball ride at Disney, and he's painting the ceiling? We studied him today." And I was like, "Yes, Michelangelo because of Disney."
That's actually amazing. Very cool. Well, I think, Marcy, are you good, or do you? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot if you're still having to.
No, I can
handle.
try to do both at once. I'm just finishing up these because it's breaking news for Disneyland and Walt Disney World, so it's double the work. So it just takes an extra couple minutes.
Yeah.
I apologize, everybody.
Oh, no, you're
This
fine.
is what I get for trying to multitask, which I think as you get older, it gets harder and harder. Plus, with being stuck inside for a year and a half, my brain is not functioning at 100%. So
yeah, no, I totally get it. Well, real quick then.
So what?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No. So what was the question? Can you please remind me? I'm sorry, everybody. It's like mom brain, and it all goes at once.
Favorite Disney memory as a Disney parent?
I think that was it was when we were seeing the fireworks from Mine Train. Yeah.
That's really great. And then
it was really fun.
Yeah. Any selfishly gonna ask, any tips or tricks for me when I take little one to the parks?
Yes. So my best tip would be to go early, go back and rest, and then go back, after dinner. Because don't be afraid to take a break. Because before I had kids, my Disney trips were like, okay, check. We got all of the attractions. We're good. I feel like I got my money's worth. I feel like we accomplished stuff. It's a completely different experience with children. We could go and not do any attractions and literally just sit on Main Street and watch people and have ice cream and have popcorn and go up and down the street on all the different transportation options. And that would be a perfect day. I mean, it does completely change your Disney perspective, but in a good way. You've been to Disney as, a single adult, somebody, who has a significant other, and then now you're going to be going as a mom. So it's just a different perspective for you. And it's going to be really awesome. And I can't wait for you to experience it.
Aw, I'm so excited. I really am. I can't believe it's only 4 weeks away.
Wow.
But thank you both. I'm going to go ahead and plug our next show really, really quick. So our next show is August 11th. And we're going to be talking about Disney house decor, and how much Disney is too much Disney in your house. I'm sure we'll have a wide variety of answers to that question. And actually speaking a little bit more about baby and everything, hopefully, assuming I can actually finally get her nursery done, which I'm, of course, down to the 11th hour on. I'll be, shameless plug, but I'll be doing a Disney nursery tour, because, of course, we did do a Disney nursery. But yeah, if you have pictures out there in the chat, or comments about how much you think is too much Disney in a home, or if there's no such thing as too much Disney in a home, feel free to send us your pictures and your comments. We would love to see, how everybody else has Disneyfied their home. Obviously, my office is completely Disneyfied, but that kind of varies for the rest of my house, which we'll get into next week. But again, don't feel free at inkandpaint@WDWNT.com. Send us all the pictures of all your Disney decor. I would love to see it, because I'm always trying to figure out how to sneak more of it into my house. But with that, I think we're going to call it a night. Thank you again, everybody who came out. Thank you to my wonderful panels, Stephanie and Marcy. I have learned so much about being a Disney mom, and again, I cannot wait. And so, yeah, good night, everybody.
Thank you for having us. It was nice being on.
Bye, everybody.
Sharing our memories. Bye.
Bye. Good night. Oh, I've lost it. No.